Suspicious activity has been detected at a North Korean shipyard, suggesting that it may be preparing to launch a new ballistic missile submarine in the near future. According to a U.S. expert website 38 North, recent commercial satellite imagery of the North Shimpo South shipyard indicated that the floating dry dock, normally moored at a nearby pier, has recently been repositioned along the construction hall submarine launch quay. Noting that such an arrangement is unusual, the website came up with two speculations. First, the new ballistic missile submarine, which has been under construction for several years, may be ready to be rolled out and launched in the near future. Second, the dry dock may be there for rail alignment adjustment with those on the quay, as no submarine is known to have been launched from this location as of yet. The report came amid rising tension on the Korean peninsula after North Korea recently launched two ballistic missiles into the EC. Senior defense officials of South Korea and the U.S. expressed deep concerns over the recent launches and vowed to closely cooperate to counter threats from Pyongyang.
There's been a flurry of international reactions after North Korean state media says the two projectiles accurately hit their targets off the country's eastern coast. Pyongyang's confirmation of the test comes as U.S. President Joe Biden sternly warns of consequences if the North continues to ramp up tensions amid stalled nuclear talks. Seoul, however, seems to be approaching with caution.
지금은 남북미 모두가 대화를 이어나가기 위해 노력해야 할 때입니다. 대화의 분위기에 어려움을 주는 일은 결코 바람직하지 않습니다.
U.S. and Japanese officials say both weapons tested on Thursday were ballistic missiles. These are prohibited by UN Security Council resolutions. The official who supervised the launch says the tests were of great significance in bolstering North Korea's military power. These are Pyongyang's first ballistic missile tests in nearly a year, and they are said to underscore steady progress in its weapons program.
These missiles are no joke. They can be used to hold South Korea hostage, to strike South Korea, and to be used in battle, all of which affect the United States. So even though these are short-range missiles, we should not ignore them.
The United States has called for a meeting with the UN Security Council Committee that monitors sanctions against North Korea.
Simon Marks joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Simon, how concerned is the White House about this latest challenge from North Korea?
Well, judging from President Biden's comments during his press conference here on Thursday, they are very concerned. He confirmed that this was a ballistic missile test that breached United Nations covenants and sanctions, and indeed confirmed that the United States was actively reaching out to allies and partners throughout the region in a bid to determine the proper response. He said that if there were more of these tests conducted, reprisals would be possible. He left the door open for possible diplomacy, insisting that the United States was willing to talk about the future of the Korean Peninsula with the North, but only provided the North conceded and affirmed that the goal of the talks would be to secure the denuclearization of the peninsula. But the other point that Joe Biden made was that he understood that North Korea is the toughest foreign policy challenge that his presidency is going to face. Now, elsewhere in the press conference, he insisted that he wanted to have the opportunity to focus on COVID-19 relief and infrastructure as the two projects here that dominate his time. He didn't seem to be a man particularly welcoming other potential distractions, but it's absolutely apparent that North Korea now is becoming precisely that.
Well, there are certainly options, but will President Biden now perhaps take a tougher stance on Pyongyang? Is he under pressure to do that? Or even perhaps will he take any decisive action on the U.S. policy towards North Korea?
Well, definitely under pressure to take more strenuous action by various figures in the United States Congress. That is for certain, although Democrats in the U.S. Congress, I think, will go along with his desire to be allowed to focus on those big domestic issues that he wants to make a hallmark of his first 100 days in office. But as to whether we're getting any closer to understanding exactly what his policy towards North Korea is going to be? Well, as with so much else on the foreign policy front, and particularly in the Asia-Pacific region, the word from the president continues to be, I'm consulting with allies and partners before coming out swinging with a new American strategy. So at the moment, we're in a holding pattern, and perhaps Kim Jong-un senses that, which is why he's engaging in activities that seem designed in part to draw America's attention back to a Korean peninsula.
First of all, I give God all the praise and glory on here. This is God's holy channel. This is God's holy channel. Keep praying for all God's people. Time is short, and the message I received tells it all. Jesus called me for this time as I fear him and hell, so I'm very careful what I do here. August 18th, 2020 at 10:45 a.m. with supernatural confirmation. My son, time is no more. My children, the saints, are tired and weary. My son, remember when I told you that North Korea will start the chain of events? Yes, Father, I remember. Well, my son, he's just about ready to launch the first weapon. My son, most people don't care that I'm warning through many weather anomalies, and many don't believe it's part of end times. My son, take heed as in Matthew 24. I love all my children and wish none to perish. I'm coming, my son, and it's not long from now. The warnings are over as most are not listening. Yeshua HaMashiach. God has spoken, so let the church say amen.
Everybody say amen. God has spoken. So let the church say amen. I need everybody here and you at home to say, let the church say amen. If you know he's right, oh, God has spoken. So let the church say amen. I need you to say it. When you dreamed about to die, knowing God is not a man, he just can't lie. Regardless of how or what the devil does, you've got a word that has come from above. Faith must be in what you say.